Okay, we all ready to go? Good evening. Good evening. The Monday, June 8th Common Council meeting is now in session. This meeting is a virtual meeting due to the executive order by Indiana Governor Holcomb. South Bend Common Council meeting will be legally held by way of virtual meeting by using the Microsoft Teams app. Public access to this meeting can be granted through the link. With that, Ms. Jones, would you like to go over the rules of communication with the public, please? Sorry about that. The power went out at Dawn Jones's house, so she is not with us right now. Either Bianca or Graham, would you like to go over the rules of communication with the public?
President Scott, this is Bianca. I will be running the meeting this evening. Please Excellent. Give me a second while I pull up my screens here. Okay. Good evening, members of the public. For audio quality, we will be muting everyone not speaking by default to maintain good audio quality for the Common Council meeting and yourselves. If you would like to speak during the meeting on a specific agenda item, please mute your request in the chat. Please submit your request in the chat. Directions to do so are in the chat. We ask that you provide your full name and address, as those are required for all speakers at in-person council meetings.
Thank you, Bianca. With that said, I would like to make an announcement. One thing that I miscommunicated in the committee meeting. We will not make motions in the committee of the whole on 1220 or 2120. Anyone listening in who wanted to comment on Bill 1220, which is the regarding the Citizen Complaint Board, that has been postponed to June 22nd. So Bill 1220 regarding the Citizen Police Complaint Board is postponed to June 22nd. Now, for everybody to understand, this is on the agenda. If anybody wanted to speak at privilege of the floor tonight on this, they cannot. Anything on the agenda cannot be talked about during the privilege of the floor that is on the agenda. There will be plenty of opportunity in public meetings on Bill 1220. Also, 2120. The bill regarding amending the ordinance for annual pay and residency incentive pay for sworn members of the South Bend Police Department is delayed with no date, with the intention that there will be a few further conversation within the Common Council. And that came under Personnel and Finance Committee Chair Karen L. White, and she will have more data on further discussions regarding Bill 2120. So if you're in for these two bills for this meeting, 1220 and 2120, they are both postponed tonight. We will not hear any comments or hearing or discussion on those two bills. So I just want to make sure that's clear. Mr. Sparks, is Bishop Eddie Miller here for our invocation?
Mr. President, it does not seem as though he has entered the lobby at this point in time.
Okay, I will entertain a council member to do a invocation. Mr. Teshka, can I count on you?
Is he trying to?
I can do it if you
Yeah,
want.
you hear me?
Thank you. Ms. McBride, go ahead.
Heavenly Father, we come to you saying thank you. Thank you for your blessings. Thank you for this time that we have come together and gathered. We ask right now if you just come into this meeting, and that you would put us on the collective body and mind as we make decisions to lead for the city, and that you work on our hearts that we are on one accord with the decisions that we make. We ask for a special blessing over the city. We ask a special blessing over all of our residents and our neighborhoods as we continue to work together to make this city a better place. So guide our thoughts and our minds today as we go into these discussions and look for the best solutions that we can. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Miss McBride. Miss Jones or Torado? I see Miss Jones is back.
Yeah,
Would you like to do roll call, please?
Sure. Councilmember Hammond,
Here.
Councilmember Davis, Councilmember Davis. I'll come back. Councilmember McBride,
Present.
Councilmember Warner,
Here.
Councilmember Teschka,
Here.
Councilmember Niskoski,
Here.
Councilmember Thomas Morgan, Vice President White,
Present.
President Scott,
Present.
Councilmember Davis, Councilmember Davis. I'll mark him when he comes in. I'm sure he's here somewhere.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Is there a report on subcommittee minutes, please?
The subcommittee minutes for May 26th has been reviewed and approved, and is recommended that the council approve the minutes for May 26th.
I make a motion that we accept the report from the subcommittee on minutes.
Second.
All those in favor? Ms. Jones, roll call?
Vice President White,
Aye.
Councilmember Davis, Councilmember McBride,
Aye.
Councilmember Warner,
Aye.
Councilmember Teschka,
Aye.
Councilmember Niskoski,
Aye.
Councilmember Thomas Morgan,
Aye.
Councilmember Hammond,
Aye.
President Scott.
Aye.
8 ayes.
Thank you. This time there are no,
Excuse me. Councilman Davis is waiting in the lobby, he says.
Okay.
did the clerks let him in?
Let's see.
Mr. President, this is Graham. There's no one waiting in the lobby at this point in time that I see in the meeting. Everybody can see who's a participant in the meeting, people who are waiting, and I don't see anybody waiting in the lobby.
I will text him. Maybe he can. Let me call.
Okay. With that, we'll keep moving. At this time, there is no special business. This time, there is no report from city offices. And again, there is Henry now. Henry, are you there?
There we go. I'm here now. Thank you.
Are you present?
Yeah, I'm present. Henry's here.
All right, thank you. Like I was saying, there's no special business, no report from city offices. At this time, there is no committee of the whole since Bill 1220 has been postponed in committee, and 2120 has been postponed in committee as well. Therefore, we do not have any third readings and we will move to resolutions. Ms. Jones, would you please read 2016?
2016, a resolution of the Common Council of South Bend, Indiana, denouncing in the strongest possible terms all acts of racial profiling, police brutality, and the use of excessive police force throughout the country.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Is there a committee report?
Yes, President Scott, this bill comes out of the Committee of Health and Public Safety with a favorable recommendation.
Thank you. I would like to recognize
President Scott,
Karen L. White, Vice President Karen L. White, and yes.
we have a substitute on this
I know,
bill.
I'm getting to that, Mr. Palmer. I would like to recognize Vice President Karen L. White and Committee of the Whole Chair Sharon McBride as co-sponsors along with myself. We do have, and we have put in for, at the committee, a substitute bill or a substitute resolution on this. Would ask the council for a motion to accept the substitute.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Ms. Jones, roll call, please.
I'm sorry. Councilmember Davis? Councilmember Davis? Councilmember McBride?
Aye.
Councilmember Warner?
Aye.
Councilmember Teschka?
Aye.
Councilmember Niskoski?
Aye.
Councilmember Thomas Morgan?
Aye.
Councilmember Hammond?
Aye.
Vice President White?
Aye.
President Scott?
Ms. Jones, if you go back to Mr. Davis, please.
Yeah, I'm here. I don't know why I was muted. I didn't do it.
It happens. President Scott?
Aye.
9 ayes.
Thank you. As a sponsor, I would like to start off by reading part of the resolution. Amended Bill 2016, a resolution of the Common Council of South Bend, Indiana, denouncing in the strongest possible terms all acts of racial profiling, police brutality, and the use of excessive police force throughout this country. Whereas on May 25, 2020, George Floyd, a black resident of the city of Minneapolis, Minnesota, was publicly and brutally murdered through the actions and inactions of 4 police officers while he cried out, "I cannot breathe," and called for his dead mother. And whereas Mr. Floyd's death occurred while he was handcuffed, lying face down on the street, while one officer knelt on his neck, another officer applied pressure to his back, and at least 2 other officers ignored the pleas from onlookers to save Mr. Floyd's life. And whereas the officers continued to apply pressure to Mr. Floyd's neck for nearly 9 minutes, more than 3 minutes after he stopped breathing. And whereas, although this method of restraint has been banned or strongly discouraged by many police departments, reports indicate that Minneapolis police use neck restraints, i.e. using an arm or leg to compress the neck without directly putting pressure on the airway, at least 237 times since the beginning of 2015, with at least 44 of the victims losing consciousness. And whereas despite recordings of Mr. Floyd's death having been relayed innumerable times throughout the world, leading to worldwide protest, a Seattle police officer who was recorded using a similar tactic on a protester until his knee was forcibly removed by another officer while onlookers screamed, "Get your effing knee off his neck." And whereas this is the second time in the past year that members of this Common Council has expressed condolences to the family and friends of a black man killed by a white police officer. The death of Eric Logan on June 16, 2019, though tragic, did not draw global attention to America's problem, in part because Mr. Logan was killed in the middle of the night in a dark parking lot with no witnesses, no video to document what actually happened, and the investigation of his death left unanswered many questions in the minds of many people. Unlike the public killing of Mr. Floyd in broad daylight with several recordings and witnesses, and
whereas historical injustice and racial disparities that have existed in our country for hundreds of years had led to many Black men dying at the hands of white police officers in a system of policing in America that targets people of color and which can be traced back to the long legacy of slavery, lynching, and Jim Crow laws. And whereas it is currently not only Black men, but also Black women and girls, Latinos, and Native Americans who have suffered from this same shameful history, and whereas the very public and brutal murder of Mr. Floyd has caused worldwide outrage because such actions can no longer be willfully denied or disregarded, and whereas racial profiling and excessive force, which includes shootings, brutal beatings, fatal chokings, and other excessive abuses, are contrary to human decency and the inherent dignity of every individual and the American ideal of equal justice for all.
Now therefore be it resolved, the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana as follows. Section 1. The Common Council expresses its deep and sincere condolences not only to the family and friends of Mr. Floyd, but also to the family and friends of all other such victims whose suffering is renewed and intensified every time there's another family suffers a similar loss. Section 2. The Common Council denounces in the strongest terms possible all acts of racial profiling, police brutality, and the use of excessive police force, such as those that led to the deaths of Mr. Floyd and many known and unknown other victims. More specifically, the Common Council calls for every law enforcement agency or department to immediately adopt a goal of 0 deaths while employing apprehension and detainment procedures, which provide safe practices for both officers and suspects. Section 3, the Common Council calls on each individual resident to similarly condemn the actions leading to the death of Mr. Floyd and others like him. Section 4, the Common Council, recognizing the inherent dignity of every human person, renews its unwavering commitment to the goal of equal treatment of all through not only the words, but more importantly, the actions of this legislative body. Section 5, the commitment is not only established by past acts such as last year allocating $180,000 for a 21C solution to evaluate the police department's policies. Somebody needs to be muted. The commitment is not only established by past acts such as last year's allocating $180,000 for 21 CP solutions to evaluate the police department's policies and practices on the use of force, body-worn cameras, bias-informed policing, accountability, and community engagement and participation, but also continuing in future acts such as encouragement of implementation of 21 CP solutions, valid recommendations by the Board of Public Safety and the South Bend Police Department, encouraging the adoption of a fair and just matrix for exercising police discipline, and the continued study and consideration of a citizen review board to add community input into South Bend policing. Section 6, the Common Council not only invites, but also demands that the South Bend residents hold council members to this commitment and further encourages each resident to join in that commitment. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. White. Thank you, Ms. McBride. This time, I'll turn it to council. Are there any questions to the co-sponsors?
President Scott, this is Rachel Thomas Morgan. I believe that we had accepted a substitute bill for 2016, whereas paragraph 8 read slightly differently in the substitute bill. Would it be all right to reread that paragraph? How shall we handle that?
I think it was a mistake. We thought we were reading the substitute, as we accepted the substitute version, and it appears that we weren't actually reading that version. I would recommend that we go back and pick up that part of the resolution so that is properly reflected.
Yeah, can you read section 8, paragraph 8? I don't have the sub.
I am happy to read it.
Please.
President Scott, would you have it? Okay. President Scott, I'm sorry, you're muted. Shall I read it?
Yes, please, go ahead. I'm sorry, I lost it on my iPad, so go ahead.
Paragraph 8 in Bill number 2016, the substitute version, paragraph 8 reads, whereas it is currently not only Black men, but also Black women and girls, as well as Indigenous, Latinx, and Asian communities who suffer from this shameful history.
Thank you. And I want to recognize Councilperson Rachel Tomas Morgan for her contribution for that line as well. And we apologize for not getting that straight on the first reading. So thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions from council for the sponsors? Seeing none, we'll open up to the public. For the public, anyone wishing to speak in favor of this resolution, Mr. Graham Sparks?
Mr. Scott, at this time, nobody from the public has put their self in the queue for comment on this bill. I yield.
Thank you. We'll turn it back to council for their comment or recommendation.
I recommend we move for passage of the resolution.
A second.
Thank you for the motion in the second. Ms. Jones, roll call, please.
Councilmember McBride,
Aye.
Councilmember Warner,
Aye.
Councilmember Teshka,
Aye.
Councilmember Nisgowsky,
Aye.
Councilmember Tomas Morgan,
Aye.
Councilmember Hammond,
Aye.
Vice President White,
Aye.
Councilmember Davis,
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. We'll move on to bills of the first reading. Ms. Jones, would you please read 2220?
2220, first reading on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, approving a petition of the Advisory Board of Zoning Appeals for the property located at 817 Elmer, South Bend, Indiana, 46628.
I'll entertain a motion to send this to Public Works and Property Vacation for 622.
So move.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Jones, roll call.
Councilmember Warner,
Aye.
Councilmember Teshka,
Aye.
Councilmember Nisgowsky,
Aye.
Councilmember Tomas Morgan,
Aye.
Councilmember Hammond,
Aye.
Vice President White,
Aye.
Councilmember Davis,
Aye.
Councilmember McBride,
Aye.
President Scott,
Aye.
9 ayes.
Thank you. Ms. Jones, would you read 2320?
2320, first reading on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, approving a petition of the Advisory Board of Zoning Appeals for the property located at 3610 Keller Street, South Bend, Indiana, 46628.
I move that this bill be sent to our Zoning and Annexation Committee for second reading and public hearing on June 22nd.
Second.
Ms. Jones, roll call.
Councilmember Tashka,
Aye.
Councilmember Niskowski,
Aye.
Councilmember Thomas More,
Aye.
Councilmember Hammond,
Aye.
Vice President White,
Aye.
Councilmember Davis,
Aye.
Councilmember McBride,
Aye.
Councilmember Warner,
Aye.
President Scott.
Aye.
9 ayes.
I made a mistake. 2220 really should be under zoning. So Bob Palmer, I believe the action should be rescind the motion to send to Public Works and Property Vacation for 622 and then revote to ZNA.
That's correct.
So move.
Second.
Councilmember
Ms.
Warner,
Jones,
Councilmember Warner.
just so we're clear,
Uh-huh.
just so we're clear, the first vote is to rescind from Public Works and Property Vacation, then we'll do a second vote for ZNA. Thank you, Ms. Jones, sorry.
Okay. Councilmember Warner,
Aye.
Councilmember Tashka,
Aye.
Councilmember Niskowski,
Aye.
Councilmember Thomas Morgan,
Aye.
Councilmember Hammond,
Aye.
Vice President White,
Aye.
Councilmember Davis,
Aye.
Councilmember McBride,
Aye.
President Scott.
Aye.
9
And I'll
ayes.
entertain a motion, to send 2222 ZNA for 622.
So moved.
So moved.
Count-
Ms.
Council-
Jones?
Councilmember Warner,
Aye.
Councilmember Tashka,
Aye.
Councilmember Niskowski,
Aye.
Councilmember Thomas Morgan,
Aye.
Councilmember Hammond,
Aye.
Vice President White,
Aye.
Councilmember Davis,
Aye.
Councilmember McBride,
Aye.
President Scott.
Aye.
9 ayes.
Again, my apologies. Ms. Jones, 2420, please.
2420, first reading on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, amending the zoning ordinance for property located on 10 parcels on South Laurel Street and West Thomas Street, Councilmanic District Number 1 in the City of South Bend, 46601.
I'll entertain a motion to send this to ZNA for 622.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Jones?
Councilmember Niskowski,
Aye.
Councilmember Thomas Morgan,
Aye.
Councilmember Hammond,
Aye.
Vice President White,
Aye.
Councilmember Davis,
Aye.
Councilmember McBride,
Aye.
Councilmember Warner,
Aye.
Councilmember Teshka,
Aye.
President Scott.
Aye.
9 ayes.
Thank you. Ms. Jones, would you please read 2520?
2520, first reading on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, authorizing the refunding of certain outstanding sewage works revenue bonds, authorizing the issuance of revenue bonds in one or more series for such purpose in aggregate principal amount not to exceed $22 million, establishing a sewage works refunding fund and addressing other matters connected therewith.
I move that this bill be sent to Personal and Finance for second reading and public hearing on June 22nd.
Second.
Ms. Jones, roll call.
Councilmember Thomas Morgan,
Aye.
Councilmember Hammond,
Aye.
Vice President White,
Aye.
Councilmember Davis,
Aye.
Councilmember McBride,
Aye.
Councilmember Warner,
Aye.
Councilmember Teschka,
Aye.
Councilmember Niskowski,
Aye.
President Scott.
Aye.
9 ayes.
Thank you. 2620, please.
2620, first reading on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, for budget transfers for various departments within the City of South Bend for the year 2020.
I move that this bill be sent to Personnel and Finance Committee for second and third reading for June 22nd.
Second.
Ms. Jones?
Councilmember Hammond,
Aye.
Vice President White,
Aye.
Councilmember Davis,
Aye.
Councilmember McBride,
Aye.
Councilmember Warner,
Aye.
Councilmember Teschka,
Aye.
Councilmember Niskowski,
Aye.
Councilmember Tomas Morgan,
Aye.
President Scott.
Aye.
9 ayes.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Please read 2720.
First reading on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, appropriating additional funds for certain departmental and city services operations for the year 2020 of $470,000 from Parks and Recreation Fund number 201, $555,695 from Economic Development State Grant Fund number 210, $2,232,322 from DCI Federal Grant Fund number 212, $1,753 from Police Safe Seizures Fund number 216, $185,000 from Central Services Operating Fund number 222, $60,000 from Central Services Capital number 224, $94,127 from Liability Insurance Premium Reserve number 226, $2,025,075 from COVID-19 Response Fund number 264, $263,610 from the Fire Departmental Capital Fund number 287, $132,075 from Copsmore Grant Fund number 295, $282,727 from Economic Development Income Tax Fund number 408, and $40,118 from Parking Garages Fund number 601.
I make a motion that Bill 27-20 be sent to Personnel and Finance for second and third reading for June 22nd.
Second.
Ms. Jones, roll call.
Vice President White,
Aye.
Councilmember Davis, Councilmember Davis.
I thought I was unmute.
Oh, okay.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Because it's still saying unmuting. I'm sorry.
Councilmember McBride,
Aye.
Councilmember Warner,
Aye.
Councilmember Teschka,
Aye.
Councilmember Niskowski,
Aye.
Councilmember Tomas Morgan,
Aye.
Councilmember Hammond,
Aye.
President Scott.
Aye.
9 ayes.
Thank you. We'll move to unfinished business. Right now, I'll entertain a motion to postpone indefinitely the appeal of a denial of a certificate of appropriateness. And I wrote over the number of Ben and Carrie Maudlin versus Historic Preservation Commission. The purpose for this is they want it to be heard in person when we're in a full-bodied in-person meeting. So I'll entertain that motion.
So
So moved.
moved. I second.
Thank you. Ms. Jones, roll call.
Councilmember Davis. Councilmember Davis.
If I, I.
Councilmember McBride.
Aye.
Councilmember Warner.
Aye.
Councilmember Teschka.
Aye.
Councilmember Niskoski.
Aye.
Councilmember Tomas Morgan.
Aye.
Councilmember Hammond.
Aye.
Vice President White.
Aye.
President Scott. President Scott.
Aye, sorry, you broke up.
9 ayes.
Okay, thank you. We will move on to our new business. Is there any new business before this council? Ms. McBride?
Yes, thank you, President Scott. I would like to say thank you to Attorney Bob Palmer and the clerk's office who are helping to get the proclamation together for National Gun Violence Awareness Day. And thank you for Bullets for Life and Moms Demand Action for inviting me to their event. We had a parade on Saturday, and it was a great time to get out and talk about the gun violence and how we should all try to work together to end gun violence. And unfortunately, between Friday and Saturday, there were 9 shootings with 5 people being shot. So just wanted to make reference to the proclamation and to the good work that they are doing throughout our community. And they always petition the state. I've had the pleasure of going to the state house with them as well. So I commend the work that they're doing and just wanted to give a shout out to them as well for that.
Thank you, Ms. McBride. Is there any other new business?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Davis?
Thank you. Look, I want to ask for everybody's sensibilities and sensitivity to what I'm getting ready to say. Over the past maybe week, or even probably longer than that, I've been noticing high grass and high weeds in a lot of these city-owned properties, and also these vacant lots that are not necessarily city-owned properties, but because of the 1,000 houses in 1,000 days, it became our issue. These properties are within neighborhoods where people actually live. Grass has been slow to cut or has not been cut. I did speak with Mr. John Martinez, I think it was Friday, and he was very helpful in getting me to understand what was going on and why the grass was not being cut. Grass cutting season is 5 months long. By the way the ordinance is, you get 1 grass cut per month for all the grass that's out there. Some of them are continuous mows. Sometimes they have to go on recite to get the lawnmowers out there from the park department. What I'm drawing your attention to is that is another sign of neglect. That adds to the atmosphere and the pressures within certain neighborhoods and environments that causes people to react in negative ways. We don't necessarily want to point to it and think it's that easy, but if you live in a neighborhood that shows you that it doesn't care about you, you don't care about that neighborhood or anyone living in that neighborhood. So we have to make sure that we're maintaining and doing as much as we can to manicure this city so this city looks like a place where you want to live and grow your children. The same thing behind that, it comes with the garbage cans that are on Lincoln Way West. They remain there throughout the entire week. That is a main corridor. We can't have visitors come in and there's trash literally on the streets. Highways and trash. I don't know. That's not a good look, South Bend. So I'm encouraging us to get something going and done so that these departments, if they're in a compromised position or they need more funding, whatever that is, but we have to clean the city up. It doesn't look good. I just saw the appointment of Pam Meyer to be over neighborhoods, if I read that correctly. I don't know if that means that we have a discussion with her about that, but that is a major, major thing on my list, and I think it should be on everyone else's list. If our city does not look like you should be living here, chances are people are not going to live here. And if they do live here, they're not going to be happy campers. So I hope that I have impressed upon, my colleagues to do whatever we can. The grass needs to get cut, the trash needs to get off the streets, and hopefully we can start looking a bit better than we have been over the last several months. I yield my time.
Mr.
Thank
Davis,
you.
I would like to echo that. I did contact the code enforcement this week as well for some vacant lots that have not been cut. So I echo your sentiments as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McBride, Mr. Davis. I would tend to agree. I think it's something that Ms. Meyer would probably have to come before our residential neighborhood committee sometime and give an update. I know she's going to be new, but she's been with the city for a while. There has been, because of COVID, is what I'm told, a lot of inactivity within the code enforcement department, which has led to some deterioration in some neighborhoods that are in the first district that people are looking for answers. So I appreciate that input. Anybody else with any new?
President Scott, Lori Hammond.
Yes, Lori.
I have received several messages and notifications from some of the elderly residents in South Bend, others that are also more susceptible to the COVID, with concerns about businesses that are not following the recommendations of the health department. There's considerable confusion as to how reporting should take place if there doesn't seem to be a great deal of oversight on the businesses to make sure that they're actually in compliance with the recommendations of the health department. There's a great deal of concern out there. I don't know what the role of the council would be necessarily, but I do want to raise those concerns and bring those forth.
Thank you. I think that's education and making sure that we're able to get the contact information out to the health department and holding the health department accountable for enforcing those rules. Thank you. Any other new business? Seeing none, we'll turn to privilege of the floor. Privileged floor, this is where individuals who wish to address the council must state their name and address and residential address. Individuals will be limited to 3 minutes only. The maximum time limit for this portion of the meeting is 30 minutes. That would mean 10 people. Individuals may address only issues which the city has jurisdictions. Individuals shall not be permitted to address topics which the council has heard previously on this agenda. So just to reiterate, anything that was on this agenda, even the bills that we have postponed, cannot be discussed in privilege of the floor. Council President may assign a topic raised by the individuals during this privilege of the floor to the appropriate council member and or request city clerk to contact a member of the city administration for review and comment. All topics assigned shall be responded in the next regularly scheduled common council meeting. This time, Mr. Graham, are there anybody wanting to talk at privilege of the floor?
Mr. President, we do have one individual, Cricket Gibbons. Please, at this time, Cricket, please unmute yourself, state your name and address for the record.
Okay, hello, I'm Cricket Gibbons.
Hold on a minute. Time out. I just want to let you know I'll be keeping time at 3 minutes. I'll give you about a 30-minute exit warning. Okay?
All righty. So again, my name is Cricket Gibbons. I live at 51590 Stratton Court in Granger. And on behalf of the Indiana chapter of Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America, I'd like to thank 3rd District Council Member Sharon McBride and the South Bend Common Council for recognizing June 5th, 2020 as National Gun Violence Awareness Day. I would also like to thank Council Member McBride and Vice President Karen White for participating in the local Wear Orange activities this past weekend. And an additional note that South Bend Mayor Mueller also declared June 5th National Gun Violence Awareness Day. Wear Orange is dedicated to honoring the lives of the 100 people in America who are killed by gun violence each day and the countless others who are affected. National Gun Violence Awareness Day is the first Friday in June and is the beginning of Wear Orange Weekend. As we wear orange to honor those affected by gun violence, we must also bring attention to the deadly intersection of racism, white supremacy, and gun violence in America, where Black people are 10 times more likely to die by gun homicide than white people. Wear Orange and National Gun Violence Awareness Day were inspired by Project Orange Tree, an awareness campaign to commemorate the life of Hadia Pendleton and other victims of gun violence. Orange is the color that Hadia Pendleton's friends wore in her honor after she was shot and killed in Chicago at the age of 15. In June 2015, on what would have been her 18th birthday, a broad-based coalition launched the first National Gun Violence Awareness Day. The color orange has a long and proud history in the gun violence prevention movement, and it's also the color that hunters wear to protect lives. Wear Orange also has support from other community partners locally, including Bullets for Life, the South Bend Community School Corporation, Mayor James Mueller, as I mentioned, and St. Joseph County Sheriff Bill Redmond are some who've also helped support the Wear Orange effort, as well as artists, cultural influencers, faith leaders, survivors, students, teachers, moms, dads, and other advocates in cities all over the country. So again, I'd like to thank you for showing your support for the effort to end gun violence.
Thank you, Ms. Gibbons. Mr. Graham, Mr. Sparks, is there any other people?
Mr. President, that exhausts the speakers list. I yield.
President Scott.
Mr. Davis.
I'm sorry, I was trying to talk before she got on and my thing was muted again and I didn't know it. Hey, there also is a tree branch or a tree that has destroyed the fence on Walnut to the city cemetery. That thing is still there. I know we had a bad storm, but I think that's been some time ago. I don't know what's going on, man. I don't, and I just want that for the record.
Right.
But we can't have our city.
That's fine. Yeah, that's Mr. Martinez again. He helped me out with some street issues. We have bad storms over in our neighborhood too.
Well, he can't do it all by himself, sir. He sounds like he needs some help.
Well, what I'm saying is I don't know if he's aware of it or not. So, okay. Anything else from anybody? With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
And we are adjourned. We thank you all. We're adjourned.
Take care.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you all. Peace.